Dear brothers and sisters, when I say brothers, sisters, I really feel like that.
High above the clouds, where the sky meets the earth, there is a land where time breathes differently, a place of fierce beauty and enduring spirit. This is Tibet, ancient, sacred and silenced, but not forgotten. Today we take our story to Ithaca, New York.
Dashi Dele. Today I'm reporting from outside of His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama Library and Learning Center, where I'll be given a tour by the monk that made all this possible, the president of the Namgyal Monastery, the Venerable Choesang. I want to start off by admiring this great statue, and I was wondering if you could tell me a little more about it.
As you see that His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama's statue is, I think this is the one of the biggest His Holiness Dalai Lama statue, and also this is the first time, the statue like this, and the artist who made this statue is very, I think, very famous, artist from. He's from the Italian artist, and whose name is Marie Chido. So this statue is 90 feet tall, and the throne itself 3 feet. So I think when we see this statue is a little bit different from our traditional statue. So I think this Western country, this is the most effective and more influence for the Westerners.
Is it plated in gold?
This is made of copper and plated gold. Yes.
I see. Okay. Shall we start?
Sure.
What has been the primary mission or goal driving the development of this library and learning center?
I think this His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama's Library and Learning Center is the main mission or goal is based on His Holiness Dalai Lama's 4 commitments. According to His Holiness Dalai Lama's 4 commitments, or preservation of Tibetan culture, we have to have this kind of center to promote His Holiness Dalai Lama's teachings and preservation of Tibetan culture. So through this library learning center, we can invite our young generations and educate them, loving kindness and promotion of human values like love, compassion, and forgiveness or tolerance, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And as a follow-up question, how does this library and learning center aim to empower the cultivation of Tibetan culture?
I think in future, like a Western country, it's really important that we have to have like a specific location and give education for young generations. If we, our generation, if we don't educate young generations on Tibetan culture, like loving kindness, these things, then we may losing our identity or our culture. So that's why His Holiness Dalai Lama always encouraging Tibetans, especially young Tibetans, to study our language and our culture, and especially practice our human values and religious harmony, preservation of Tibetan cultures, things like that.
I see. Okay, and could you tell us a bit about this beautiful piece of art we're looking at?
Of course, this, as you see, this Tibetan map, so it tells you that we Tibetans, we have three regions, Choesang, Kham, Amdo. Specific, this the map is the center of this beautiful art, because we need to introduce His Holiness Dalai Lama to the friends of the world, to introduce His Holiness Dalai Lama. His Holiness Dalai Lama is Tibetan, he came from Amdo, and then rest of those beautiful painting is His Holiness Dalai Lama's achievements, how he studied how he came to India, how he studied our schools, monasteries, study learning centers, something like that. So this is a very small exhibition, and this very holy scripture we call Kerzin, written handwriting, and also gold scripture. Yeah, this is actually, this can tell you how Tibetan, our older generations, how they put efforts to our culture, because this over maybe 500 pages and then handwriting with gold, gold ink. So especially this we call Kerzin, is a very holy and heart sutra given by His Holiness Dalai Lama. So this is really precious. So this small scriptures we call Dojicheba. I think this cutting diamond, something like that. So then His Holiness Dalai Lama's small chair, which he used over 20 years. And this is the culture Zen mandala. Our monks here just made this after library learning center opening ceremony. Yes. Yep. So this one is His Holiness Dalai Lama's head, and we call Dunga, and the whole thing, his robes, which is he blessed, and also this is his used ones. We Tibetans believe this is really holy, and you can get easily, So this His Holiness Dalai Lama's metals, right? So it's actually this kind of rubricate not original one. Original ones kept in His Holiness Dalai Lama's residence. But this is replicate, but it's very still, holy, which given by His Holiness Dalai Lama. So those are our Tibetan money. When we have our country independent, we use this money. It's quite big, but something special.
Okay.
So this His Holiness Dalai Lama's, this actually Vietnamese king's hat. So 2012, when I went to Dharamsala with the Vietnamese group, so they offered to His Holiness Dalai Lama, and His Holiness wore this hat, and after that he gave a signature. His signature is behind, and he mentioned here, he is the cultural practitioner. So this is the, I think, first time he mentioned about he addressed himself as a cultural practitioner. So we call it Shaikya Kemo Tugowar. So this cultural mandala and made by Dharamsala TCV handicraft, right? They made it. So it's very detailed and it's very unique. I think only maybe 4 pieces in the world.
What kind of texts and resources are available at this library and learning center?
In this library, we can actually we have over 400 His Holiness Dalai Lama's books, which are written in English, and also Chinese, Korean, French, and some other Hindi or Nepali books. His Holiness Dalai Lama's book, like written in Tibet, I think more than 200 books. And this book is very special. We call Kanyu Tingyur Peduma, which is it's more like a kind of collection over 10 different Kanyu Tingyur. So this is a very unique one which we brought from Tibet. So this small gift shop. Actually, this first our plan is a reading area. People can sit and read books. But one of our main donor, Dan Bender, she is so interested to make small gift shop. She said that when people visit the library,
To have a souvenir.
yeah, souvenir, and especially they're asking books, So then we there's some small bookcase. People can visit here. They can buy books from here. So kind of some special blessing and remembrance of this library. And here we have an elevator. So this area is a reading area. People can sit and reading books with the beautiful view from here. And also we have what do you call screen and projector. Projector is here, and if you have something special like presentations, you can make presentation here with a large screen, So last year when His Holiness visit here, so he rests over that room, choir room, we call choir room. He stayed here maybe 5-10 minutes,
I think this is a very important aspect of the library and learning center that makes it so special. Can you tell me about this altar here?
Sure. So this, as you see, altar, and we Tibetan call Choesang. So as you see the center, the Buddha Shakyamuni, is made of copper, gold-plated, which is in Nepal we call Bodhanath, the very oldest tuber. We call Chuting Chanankashu. Is 2,500 years old. So 2014 or 15, they have a very heavy earthquake, and the tuber is collapsed. And then Tibetans and Buddhist society, they rebuilt. And then they have over 1,000 kgs of copper, remaining copper. So then one of in charge, the man who asked Nepal government to give to him that remaining copper, and then he made this Buddha statue. So this is very, very special because the material is over 2,500 years old, and also, of course, there are 100,000 Tibetan great masters that blessed that one. So the first statue is His Holiness the Lama's statue, and one of our Tibetan artists we call Kerzin, he made that here in Ithaca. So that's very special because we have lots of artists like him, very unique one. So then third one is Buddha Compassion, we call Kerzin Chashiva. And then the Choesang altar, there are over 325 sculptures we call Ganju Tingu, which is very special and unique one. And we brought from Tibet, we call Degi Pagan, Degi printing house. The Degi printing house is over 400 years old history, and this Degi Ganju Tingu is handprint with wood block. So very special. And this is the last printing. The wood blocks see over 300 years old, and so now that wood blocks in the museum. So this is something special too.
In your view, what do you think is the most important aspect of Tibetan culture that must be preserved for younger generations?
I think every country or nation, especially our Tibetans, we lost our country, and we escaped to India. And we right now we are living as a refugee. So I think if we don't preserve our culture based on loving kindness, so that is His Holiness always mentioned that with Tibetans we cannot contribute for like material to the world, but we can contribute like kind of loving kindness and forgiveness, and these things we can contribute to the whole world. So I think Tibetan culture is very much related or based on all those love, compassion, forgiveness, contentment, these things. So I think according to present Tibetan culture, I think our younger generations need to study from our older generation, and you have to understand, fully understand our culture, deeper meaning, and then we teach other people. So Tibetan culture is not just our language or our speaking, but more than that, we need our culture is based on Buddhist love, compassion, wisdom, philosophy. So we need to study the whole thing, and then you will see the value of Tibetan culture. It's not just kind of a language or writing these things. It's of course really important, but more than that, we need to study, and we should understand how Tibetan culture can benefit or influence or contribute for our neighbors or entire world. So according to learned Tibetan culture, I think our young generations, we have a big responsibility because our older generation, younger generation is more like, this is more like a transition. So if we, our younger generations don't put or pay attention our culture, then after maybe 100 years or 100 years later, we may have lost our culture. So which is so sad, of course.
Can you explain how monastic life today contributes to the broader Tibetan cause and why kids and younger generations need to pay attention to Tibetan culture for that reason?
I think monasteries and learning centers, Buddhist Dhamma centers, I think we have some special responsibility. And also monasteries, we can educate, I think, hundreds of thousands of Tibetan younger generations. Especially monasteries, we train our young boys or girls to study Buddhist philosophy over 20-30 years. And then after that, we train those young people, and then they go for our society, different schools and different societies to teach younger generations. That's why monastery, we have a big responsibility, and also we can contribute, immense contribute for our community around the world. I think because monastery, the monks that we train over 20-30 years, so most of those monks are kind of knowledgeable, and then when they teach our community, so people will more understanding of authentic of Buddhism, knowledge, so also culture. So I think through monastery we can teach our younger generations our own language, our handwriting, reading, these things. So I think it's also the people, our young generations who come to monastery, so they need to pay attention, and they have to study from those masters and those teachers of our culture, how important our culture is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How has Buddhism changed your perspective of life, and what teachings and practices do you notice are the most apparent in your day-to-day life?
Over many years, studying and practicing Buddhism has made me more calm, much less anxiety, less fear, and happier. I'm most of the time very happy, not always, but most of the time very happy. And that also helps me engage with other people, because it seems like less obstacles. It allows me more to be in the present moment. And when I'm not in the present moment, when I'm thinking about the future or worrying about the future, or thinking about the past or worrying about the past, then you get more anxiety and maybe fear and stress. Of course, sometimes I do think about past or future, but much of the time I'm kind of present. Right now I'm very present with you now. This morning when we had our discussion and seminar, I felt very present. I wasn't thinking about past or future. So the practice has helped me very much to, be more of the time in the present moment, and that brings more joy and calmness and kind of well-being, feel really well inside. I do, to answer the second part about my kind of regular or daily practice, I do several hours, usually 2 hours of meditation in the morning, and about 1 hour, or sometimes a little less, or almost 1 hour in the evening before bed. And that's also helped me a lot. I don't miss it. So today, I wasn't able to do much because we arrived at 1 in the morning. I got to bed at 1:30 and had to get up and prepare and everything. So I didn't get quite enough sleep. So I didn't get my full 2 hours this morning of meditation. I'll do it this afternoon. I think also the question that came up earlier about how do you work with someone you consider an enemy? Yeah. I mean, we don't use the word enemy so much anymore. We often say someone that makes us uncomfortable. Yeah. How do you work with that person, right? So our normal tendency or our normal reaction is to either withdraw or get aggressive, right? And neither of those work very well for us or for the other person. So slowly I have trained myself, and I'm still working on it, of course, it's in process, but to see the other person as a person. They have struggles like I have struggles, like that, and that makes that a little softer. Still there, but softer. And I have to keep doing it, because if I stop doing that, then it's more like, this person's in my face and I can react, in a negative way. So it's a continual process of seeing the person as someone who has their own struggles, and, as a person like me.
Yeah, I think, especially in the time we're living now, it's good to be in the present and follow Buddhist teachings so you don't harm others and you're just helping them in general. Okay.
That's very true.
I want to ask, why do you think it's so important that we emphasize compassion?
Yeah. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been saying for a while that compassion is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity for survival. Yeah. So compassion also means interconnectivity, that we're all connected. Not only people but animals, not only people and animals but the Mother Earth. We're all deeply connected in ways that we see, we know, but many ways that are unseen, we don't know. And because we're so closely connected, everyone, everything, that compassion means taking care of those connections. And if we don't have compassion, we don't take care of those connections, then things start to fall apart. Climate disaster, which we're already witnessing. Polarity between people, even in the same family. They can't talk to each other because they have different political views. We see that in schools, tremendous polarity. We see it in neighborhoods and society. And so these things tend to break down the important bonds that make families and society healthy. And so that's why compassion is so important, so essential to keep those bonds, to honor the interconnectivity, and to allow us to go forward and leave a world for our children and our children's children.
Especially with climate change.
Exactly, especially with climate change, that can be healthy. And right now we're not quite on that track yet. Yeah.
And my last question is more towards Tibetan communities, especially the younger generation.
Yes.
I would like to ask, what advice would you like to give them, and especially the younger generations in the communities?
What advice? Study hard. Make sure that your heart is in the right direction, being a good person, not harming others or yourself. That's crucial. And third, be a good Tibetan. And by that I mean a Tibetan that other Tibetans would look up and have respect for. So don't lose your language, that's crucial. Don't lose the essence of the teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, wisdom and compassion. Keep learning, not just about your science and becoming a doctor in biochemistry, which I know you love, me too, but also about Buddhism and maybe teachings from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So kind of do both. And to me, I mean, in a way that's what I try to do, because I'm a scientist and I'm also a Buddhist, I'm a Buddhist monk. So I try to do both. And I think that brings a lot of richness in my life. So my advice for young Tibetans living in outside of India, outside of Tibet, outside of India, or even in India, would be to do both. Work hard for your studies, in your kind of modern studies. At the same time, keep alive the Tibetan studies and your identity through language and through maybe Buddhism as a Tibetan. And I think as you grow older, you'll find that will bring a lot of richness in your life.
Especially the long residency hours and in med school.
Yes, that's not easy. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't able to practice, actual kind of ostensibly practice much Buddhism during those times. But the little bit I had practiced, not much, but a little bit before that, helped a little bit when there was a lot of stress, anxiety, fear. Helped a little bit to see a little bigger picture, not get totally caught up in it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck to you. I'm really happy to meet you and have this conversation.
Not only is Tibetan culture important, but visiting your own country is important because it can be a good experience for you.
Please introduce yourself and tell me how long you have been teaching the Tibetan children at the Namgyal Monastery.
My name is Palden Osho, and I've been teaching Tibetan kids at the monastery for over 3 years.
Tell me a little bit about what Tibetan kids do at Sunday school.
The kids first would gather in the shrine, and then there'll be one monk who will be leading the prayers together. So the Tibetan kids will be doing some chanting led by that monk, and then it should last for probably at the most for 15 minutes, and then there will be a brief teaching on Buddhism by that Lama, and at the end we do the Tibetan national anthem. That's how we would end the gathering in the shrine.
What is your favorite part about teaching?
Interacting with my students and asking them about whether they understood what I taught, and then also I would ask them whether they understood it, and then we would also go through my personal stories so that they understand in Tibetan what I'm trying to say.
And what do you think the importance of having Tibetan school is?
This is extremely important for us as a Tibetan because it represents our language. It's a very unique language which is currently being destroyed by Chinese communist government in Tibet. And since we are outside of Tibet, we have the special responsibility to work on making sure that language is never destroyed fully.
Any last words of advice?
Yes, we must study hard and keep our language, but also we have to be kind to others always.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
What is one word you'd use to describe Tibet?
Hope. What is a palace? Dalai Lama.
Family.
It reminds me of kindness, peace,
Freedom.
Compassion.
Compassion.
motherland. Tibet is my motherland. Beautiful.
Resilience.
Resilient.